You get on your bellies facing each other. You can put your arms behind your chin and you just go into full-on gibberish. No words. Everything you want to say, but it has to be gibberish. And see how long you can go before you both start laughing. Out of the thousands and thousands of students that we have, 90% are women. If you're a guy who can step into that space with those women, they're looking for a man like you. They're looking for a man who's embodied, who's available, who's open, who has a practice. How are you gonna separate yourself from all the other dudes out there? They may not have money, they may not have status, they may not have the coolest car, but when you as a man show up into a room and you feel good in your body, you feel confident, you have a practice, you have something to share that is unique, it's literally gonna lift your status to a whole other level. Like you will be a gem in a pile of sand or something. The thing that they're missing, again, I work with a lot of women that have a lot of money and a lot of power. That woman, that powerful woman who runs a company, all they want is a man who can hold them and fuck the shit out of them with skill. That's all they want. They'll go back to work, they'll do it 100 times over. They're like, baby, I got this. What everyone really, really wants is
excited to have you back, dude.
Thank you, brother.
I really enjoyed our last conversation.
Likewise.
4-way conversation. The only pod I've ever done with my wife.
Wow.
As I shared with you guys then, the podcast you and Rachel did on This Tantric Life. Is that the name?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And we actually met her at our friend's wedding years later, but interesting enough, we met the host of the podcast as well. But that podcast you guys did really, and I have to give you gratitude from the bottom of my heart because it set the stage for our relationship and ultimately marriage to like really build it in radical truth. And, you know, I was already kind of on this radical truth seeking thing in this podcast intellectual space, but to bring it into the relational, the romantic relational space it's just been very transformational. And you guys being open books and sharing your story, and your story is one hell of a story. Yeah. It was just so encouraging for us and so constructive for us.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you, brother.
And today we're doing it mano a mano.
Sí, señor.
So now we can say all the things we couldn't say last time when the ladies were here. Let's start just talking about who you are and what you do. I know you guys have just launched the House of Devotion.
Yeah.
And I'll just throw it over to you, but the theme of emotional sovereignty, I think, is becoming increasingly important to me.
Yeah.
We talk a lot about financial sovereignty and, psychological sovereignty, freeing your mind, freeing yourself by, having resources and whatnot. But the thought that occurred to me is like, you could be the richest and most powerful man in the world, but if you're a slave to your own unconscious programming, or you're a slave to your passions, then you're not free, right?
Yeah.
And so I think emotional sovereignty might be the most fundamental form of sovereignty, and this is something you guys help people with.
Yeah, I completely concur, and I believe that our outer world is a reflection of our inner world, and it doesn't matter how much money or power or status you have if you're internally living in some parts of you in the shadow, if you haven't incorporated those parts and those haven't become aware and conscious of those patterns that drive you, where nothing's ever enough, no matter how hard you work, how little you sleep, how much you accumulate, you're gonna when you have all those things at one moment, you're gonna realize, wow, it was all for naught. Like this is not where it's at. Right. And sadly, usually at that point, you've alienated a lot of people. People don't trust you because your values have been just, accumulate, make more. It doesn't, no matter the cost. And so what we teach people is how to create that feeling of enoughness from within. And to really understand that we've already always had it. We just haven't had the training to discover it. And then what are the practices and the tools that we share with people in the House of Devotion? Also right now we have a special going. So for folks who just want to come and check it out, it's a month free. Just DM me on Instagram or Rachel, and you'll discover hundreds of videos, some short, some long, discussions, practices, and tools that help you begin that journey. And not seeking that outward validation, rather finding the validation within. And then when we change our energy by these little steps, and again, it's not about these peak life experiences that people go on to these retreats and festivals or whatever else. Those are valuable and amazing. However, when you come back home and you drop into your life and into your rhythm, that somehow seems like almost like a dreamlike thing that happened, and you're not actually then applying the tools that you learned. So what are the tools and the practices that you can put into your daily life, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day, maybe more in time, that give you that result that compounds over time, where you begin to see that inner shift, and then it gets reflected in the outer. We see this again and again with our students, with our clients. We've done this long enough now to know that this works. And so we're just so grateful to be able to provide this service, and at a price that is really, really affordable. Because not everyone can work with us, at a retreat setting or one-on-one. And also give it away for free, and for you to just come and check it out. The work works, as they say. The work works. And, for me, my daily practice is so necessary, because our devices and the outward world is so interesting. And our, as we all now know, our attention is monetized. And so, when I go on Instagram or something and I'm going to look for a specific thing, I might get there like a half an hour later because I clicked on something, that then I clicked on another thing, then I clicked on another thing.
And if you can remember why you went there in the first place.
Exactly. And it's like, and I'm like, wait, what was I doing? And so 30 minutes of your time is wasted, essentially, because you're not doing anything with it. But if you build in a daily practice, and I tell our students, it's like, if you just build in 5 minutes of breath every day, 5 minutes of gratitude every day, and you just commit to it. You go like, you know what? No matter what, comes rain or shine, I'm going to do this. Whether it's right before bed, it's the first thing I wake up, it's on my lunch break, whenever it is, you will begin to see such profound shifts that seem otherworldly. And you begin to then understand how important it is to gaze within, to look within, and then how important that time is, and why, our attention, when it's pulled outwards, we lose ourselves more and more. We don't know who we are. The suicide rates are through the roof. People are, there's young dudes out there who never talked to a girl about going on a date in person ever, and they're like in their 20s, maybe in their 30s. And it's like human connection is shrinking. Our mental problems are growing, and it's a really bad scenario. Yeah, man, it's a great it's a terribly ironic thing too, right? In this digital age where we're more interconnected than ever, people are often saying we're more disconnected than ever in a more humanistic person-to-person basis. And these things, like, so I've been on this path to some extent for a number of years. Like I did the 5-minute gratitude journal for a couple of years. That was actually very helpful. Like you just sit there and it's structured 5 minutes a day. You write a few things that you're grateful for, but just training that circuit to be grateful for the basic things, right? Being alive, having food, having water, whoever's in your life, like it primes you to, I don't know if it's receive more of those things or cultivate more of those things, but like your life seems to become better. Maybe it's placebo, I don't know, but it's totally worth it. It's not placebo because the body's always listening to what the brain is saying. And so therefore the self-talk is really, really important. What we focus on grows. What we appreciates. Where attention goes, energy flows. Exactly. And so because we all have 5-to-1 negativity bias for survival, we're much more likely to look at all the things that are wrong with the world. Where's the danger at? Or what is wrong? What can I do differently? when we don't focus on what we already have, and a lot of people get that if they've gotten sick. Let's say you get the worst flu or a cold, or you get into a car accident, or something else happens, you break a leg or a hand. You're like, oh my God, I'm so grateful that just to why wasn't I grateful to be able to use my leg or a hand? Because you just take it for granted.
Right.
And so it is with everything, with your partner, with your kids, with your health, with the fact that you have food on the table. So our brain will not automatically recognize those things because it just automates our thoughts because it's conserving power.
Right.
And so in the beginning, when people begin to do these practices, you come up against some resistance because your brain is like, wait, we already have a full plate. Why are you putting more on my plate? And so then sometimes also there needs to be a trade. What am I giving up so I can put more on my plate? What's something I'm letting go of? Maybe I'm letting go of the scrolling right before bed, and I'm just going to read my book. Maybe I'm letting go of worrying. That's not going to do anything. Maybe I'm letting go of that one relationship after which I always feel drained. And instead, I'm going to use that time to do something empowering, something exciting, something that I can feel so good afterwards. The gratitude practice for writing is amazing. However, if you had the guts to actually say those things out loud and give yourself permission to feel those feelings, I'm so grateful that the sun is shining today.
Speaking it out loud.
Literally out loud, by yourself on a walk, in your car, on your commute to work, to your partner. Thank you, baby, for being an amazing wife. Thank you, husband, for being an incredible husband. I love you. In that moment, that expands. You begin to see more of that. And again, because I'm acknowledging it and the body is listening, the body then begins to produce those chemicals.
Right.
So it's not just, and if I'm, thank you, darling, for being amazing, doesn't count.
It's the energy. Yeah.
Thank you, darling, for being amazing. I love you.
Right.
Counts. And you'll feel immediately in your belly, in your soft tissue, there's, right? And then you realize that you're doing this to yourself all of the time.
Wow.
And, we spoke about this briefly before the podcast, but if there's one thing you can shift in your life, shift the belief that life is happening to you to the belief that life is happening for you and through you. Now, it may feel like in the beginning, like a burden. What's happening through me means I'm responsible, right? And you are. That's the biggest thing, is like when you accept responsibility of your inner state and that you get to regulate it, not have to, get to regulate it, and then to become a captain of the ship. It doesn't mean that you can't feel sad or upset or angry. No. It means that when these things happen, you go like, clearly this is happening for me, not to me. So how do I work with this energy? Let me get curious here. If it's happening for me, where's the blessing in this? Can I breathe with this energy? Can I express in a sacred, safe way with this energy? Can I create art with this energy? Maybe I'm writing a poem. Maybe I'm going to put a pillow on the floor and just beat it, right? Which is actually one of the practices that we teach. And it's like you allow the energy to move not towards another person, not towards yourself, but towards an inanimate object. And then your body, your nervous system learns that it's safe to hold all these different energies. We have all these different parts. Part of us can feel angry and frustrated. A part of us can be so grateful and content at the same time. Part of me might love you. Part of me might hate you at the same time. When we learn to speak to those parts, first acknowledge them, and then to speak to those parts and express them without blaming, shaming, guilting, projecting. Hey, I want to own that a part of me feels really confused right now. Part of me feels really scared. Another part of me is really excited. Another part of me is like, doesn't even know what's going on right now. Now you're in on it with me. Right? Now I've expressed what's the aliveness that's happening inside of me. It's no longer scary to me or to you. And it's absolutely groundbreaking.
Dude, you said so many things I want to pick up on. I've heard emotion defined as energy in motion, right? If that energy is not moving through you, then it's becoming trapped somewhere. And that is fast track to pathology, right? Because you're inhibiting the flow or the vitality.
Yeah.
And I've heard it said too that a hero is someone who understands the responsibility that comes with their freedom.
Yeah.
And
I love that.
these things, it's two sides of the same coin. Yeah. And responsibility kind of has this ambivalent meaning too. You know, there's the normal connotation of it, something like accountability or obligation, right? Like you're responsible to take care of someone or something. Mm-hmm. But I also like this other view on it as the ability to respond, actually.
Yes.
And so we're not just talking about, hey, carry more of a burden, be more accountable, like for some type of like moral crusade. Mm-hmm. There's like a very pragmatic element here. It's like, no, do you want to be able to be more in touch with your environment and other people and to respond more appropriately, more intelligently, more wholeheartedly? That's one of the gains of the responsibility. It's not just, oh, let me just, take the blame for everything or be accountable for everyone's problems.
It's called being a victim.
Yes. And then too, like you're saying that shift from it's happening to me to it's happening for me. One of my mentors once told me is that every problem is simultaneously an opportunity.
Exactly.
And like, if you're thinking, and I'm so guilty of this, like I'm still trying to make this transition more often. It's helped a lot in the past year, where I'm looking at the world, I'm trying to do a bunch of things at once. So I'm dealing with a constant stream of problems, as I would label them, and I feel overwhelmed. I feel like, oh, how is this fucking up again? How is blah blah blah. But then when you take this other perspective of it's happening for me or it's an opportunity, you do get into that curious, creative, you become a better problem solver, basically. You're able to respond better. Your ability to respond goes up. So I don't know, I'm saying a lot of different things, but they're all kind of woven together. There's something about getting this balance between Robert Grant, he goes, when you learn to feel with the mind and think with the heart, the river of wisdom flows. It's like something about, you're narrativizing and telling yourself all these stories, including your self-identity. It's just a story you're telling yourself. But that's training the body to do certain things. And then the body is feeding back into the mind. It's like you're trying to get that coherence, that mind-heart coherence.
Yeah. And that's where the practice is so important.
Yeah.
For me and my wife, as pyramid breath, that's our daily non-negotiable, even if it's just a few minutes.
Could you describe that too? I know we talked about it before, but people
so basically it's a practice. First of all, it's a breath practice. I don't call it breath work, I call it breath play or breath pray. And so immediately there, with words, creating a different narrative. Breath work. I already work enough. It's hard. It's difficult. It's going to take forever. It's going to be uncomfortable. Right? Breath play. Ooh, that sounds interesting. That's different. So even if you say to yourself, I'm going to do my breath play today, a part of your body, because we all love playing, and it's proven that we learn, the numbers are crazy. Like I just did a primal moves teacher training in Ibiza, and one of the things is like, you need 1,000 repetition or 10,000 repetition to get a handstand right or something like that. But it's scientifically proven if you're playing at the same time, you'll get it in like 20.
Right. Again, so yes, pragmatic.
Then applies across the board, everywhere. So pyramid breath is a playful practice that allows you to connect to your spirit, to your soul, to the energy of who you are, and then leaving the ego identity, the intellect behind. So in very quick order, we disassociate from this problem solving, 5-to-1 negativity bias, where's the danger, to the heart and to our vessel in our body, going like, wow, I'm alive. And then because of the guidance and the inner guidance that you learn in time to do yourself, you'll remember that you're spirit embodied. And what a perspective shift, right? And again, you'll open your eyes, you go back into the world, and the world is this one way. But for a while there, you'll be in that remembrance of, oh, no, that's just the world, I'm experiencing it. And that's right, I remember I'm spirit, having a human experience. I am the creator, creatrix. I get to do whatever I want with this. I get to make up a narrative about this, whether it's empowering, disempowering.
Right.
Is it happening to me, for me? And then, you get caught off in traffic or almost get whatever your boss yells at you, you forget. So it's important that the next day, or maybe when you get home at night, you're going to give yourself that 5 minutes to do that practice again. Especially if you had a really, really stressful day where you're holding all that energy inside of you and I'm not good enough. And I was told I'm a bad employee or a bad mom or bad, somebody said something to you that, and again, that's the stuff we remember, not the 100, you're amazing, I love you,
of course.
you're enough.
Yeah.
We remember that one person saying that one thing and it's just living inside of us. What is the practice to release it? So that's not what we're carrying into our sleep and then, making that pattern even deeper. That's why the practice is so important to do daily.
Yes.
And then the power compounds because you're choosing to remember. You're committing. That's why we call it the house of devotion. You're devoted to yourself, to being sovereign, to remembering, devoted to being responsible in a playful way. Yeah. Not like adding weight to your shoulders, or rather continually stepping back into that remembering that I am the creator, creatrix. When people have near-death experiences, when people almost die and they come back, and they might talk about mystical experiences or not, but when you realize that you had it so good all along, if you're going to be in a wheelchair or if you lose your arm, whatever, that's when you realize how lucky you were. But don't wait for that moment.
Right.
For the universe or the divine to give you that lesson, but rather give it to yourself daily of remembering how freaking lucky you are, how fortunate you are, and that you get to create the most, whether you have $1 billion or you have debt, that's just a game. You still get to be happy if you so choose. Or better word for happy is grateful.
Yes.
You still get to go, wow, I'm so grateful I have this debt. Yeah. What do I do with it? Yeah. How do I, now get into curiosity. How can I alchemize this? Yeah. Is there a service that I can provide somehow in here? Yeah. By being an example of something, somebody who figures this out. I'm going to maybe work really hard and pay, I'm going to cut out the things that got me in here. I'm going to change my life. That becomes an inspiration for all the other people that are in debt. And now you've become someone of, let's say, importance or significance is a better word, because you took something that was seemingly challenging and difficult and not by outer something, transmuted it into gold.
Yes.
Those are the stories we love, because that's the hero's journey.
Yes.
Right? No one goes to the movie to see somebody just living a happy life.
Right.
It's boring.
Yeah.
You want to see people go through some shit.
Yeah. And
suffer and transform.
Yeah.
That's the stuff. And you are the main actor in your movie.
Yes.
But how do you remember that? That you are significant and important every day. And that comes through practice.
And it's almost psychedelic in its effect, right? Because I've in actual psychedelic experiences, I feel like you get a pretty strong reminder of that, right? Yeah. Like you are spirit incarnate, something like that. Or the world is much more mystical than meets the eye of standard consciousness. But you're accessing this obviously just through the breath.
Yeah.
And doing that regularly is, you use the word remembrance, it's like it is what we are essentially, but it's so easy to forget. We get caught up in the game or the illusion, the Darwinian reality, which is a reality in and of itself, but it's not the deeper human reality, right? And so it's almost like, I guess microdosing would maybe be the metaphor, is you're microdosing that return to spirit frequently so that no matter what you're dealing with in the game and the illusion, you can come back to this place of like maximizing your sovereignty, your responsibility, your autonomy. And then from that place is where you're most effectively able to deal with your problems and turn that debt into a comeback story that impacts millions of people or whatever. And would paradoxically get you out of debt probably,
Exactly.
And so it's so, you'll almost end up in that like manifestation territory, but it's not, and it is in a way, but it's not just sit there and believe something that's not true. It's like, no, you're entraining yourself to come from your deepest, from your soul, right? Rather than your mind or your fear or some other place. And when you act from that depth, you can create the most significant impact in the world in a way for others and for yourself.
1000%. And I love what you said about the psychedelic part. I forget about this because I do this every day. It's, psychedelics are, again, I'm so grateful for them, and they really changed my life. However, they're not sustainable to do every day.
Right, of course.
If you did them every day, they just stop working.
Yeah.
Right. Or you'd go insane.
Yeah.
And not be a functioning human being. Yeah. However, if you can access that space, and you can, with pyramid breath especially, in a very short amount of time, and how I speak about this is like you're looking into the eyes of the divine, or you're perceiving the space within that is infinite. And when you recognize yourself as that, you are an expression of that. You are that. It gives you such immense confidence and power. And power is a tricky word. Empowering is a better word.
Yeah.
It empowers you to create a shift in your life because you realize that you are an infinite being.
Right.
And that another thing that happens in that state is that your nervous system totally resets. So that the ego that is afraid of dying, the identity, is like, this is who I am.
Exactly
right?
what I was thinking. Yeah.
Gets to just let go.
Right.
In the beginning, it's like really gripping. When people are first starting pyramid breath, they're like, "Oh my God, it's scary. I don't know where I was or who I was in the moment. Like what was happening. It seems so scary because the identity is gripping
Dissolves the boundaries
so hard. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you go like, no, that's actually the sweet spot. And when you begin to play with it in such a way that it can also stay in the body and not just check out, because that's not the point of it, then you begin to integrate it into your life. And then you just carry that energy with you and begin to radiate that energy.
Yeah.
People say some people have a presence or they have this energy about them. When I'm around them, I feel really calm and good. A, your nervous system is regulated. B, you're literally like, off gassing this energy of like calm and like universal love and infinite possibilities. And then people are drawn to you.
Yeah.
Oftentimes people say like, I don't have anybody around me that, everybody just feels closed or shut down. And well, your surrounding is a reflection of your current state.
Your vibe attracts your tribe.
Exactly. So again, you're waiting for them to make it a shift. Right. Versus being like, wait a second, I have it the wrong way around.
Yeah.
Let me create the shift, even if it means that I'm going to, through that, maybe lose some people.
Sure.
Or relationships because they'll feel toxic or disempowering or negative. However, I'm going to make space to attracts like.
Yeah.
So did I say that right?
Like attracts like. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you shift your world. And again, it's like, oh wow, I did that.
Right.
I created that.
And it's the responsibility thing again.
Exactly.
Because if you're waiting for something in the external environment to validate your worth or your value, then you've abdicated all that responsibility to the external environment. Yeah. Like you're not taking the responsibility for yourself.
And I think especially, I would say that 90% of our students are women.
Okay.
Men are so scared.
Yeah.
Men are so scared to do these practices. And again, it's the male patterning or the programming. I'm going to sound weird, look weird because we're asking you to breathe out loud and make noises and sounds.
Yeah.
And then when you let go of the identity part, you're gonna look really weird,
right?
Because you're like doing these things. Like, what are people going to think? You know. But think about this: if you are a guy, and if I'm telling you that out of the thousands and thousands of students that we have, 90% are women. If you're a guy who can step into that space with those women, they're looking for a man like you. They're looking for a man who's embodied, who's available, who's open, who has a practice. How are you going to separate yourself from all the other dudes out there? They may not have money, they may not have status, they may not have the coolest car, the coolest job, But when you as a man show up into a room and you feel good in your body, you feel confident, you have a practice, you have something to share that is unique, it's literally going to lift your status to a whole other level. Like you will be a gem in a pile of sand or something.
You're like an energetic alpha in a way, right? Like you come in there and you are in your own presence, your own confidence. And it's so ironic. It's another one of these terrible ironies that, men are like, oh, I'm not afraid, I'm tough. That's why I don't do this gay shit or whatever the thing. It was like, you lack the courage to do it, actually. Like you're acting like you're not scared and you're tough and macho, but actually you're afraid. You're being self-conscious about how you appear to other people, and you're worried. And I know this fear, like I'm sure all men know the fear, right? Like I've been there too. Well, when I first started doing yoga class when I was like 20 years old, I was like, oh, this is so weird. It took me a long time, but just doing the reps, you come to see all these other benefits that for whatever reason, our culture on the masculine side has told us that we don't need any of that. Yeah. And we just need to bottle it up and soldier on. And I don't know, that's not consistent with what we actually are, right? You're ignoring the spiritual side of your being. Yeah. And I guess you could pretend like you don't have that, but I don't think you're going to lead a fulfilling life if you don't acknowledge and act from that part of yourself.
Not only that, everything is about balance, right? Everything, there's the yin, the yang, there's the negative, the positive, masculine, feminine. If you're a man who hasn't consolidated your own inner feminine, you're literally running on half your power.
Right.
Because you're denying this other half that is just waiting to support you, to give you life. Feminine part is creativity.
Yeah.
It's freedom. It's the ability to move in a way, make sounds, to create,
improvise, flow.
Yeah, totally. Instead of this rigid masculinity where everything is number one, number two, A and B. Yeah. And so you're depriving yourself from half of your power.
Yes.
And what I have found with working with the divine energies is the divine doesn't trust you until you begin to trust yourself. Huh. The moment that people are like, I want more power, I want it's like, I'm not going to give it to you. You're untrustable because you don't trust yourself. You haven't consolidated the different parts of you yet.
You can't handle the power.
You can't handle the power.
Yeah.
Right? You're just like grinding through life. Yeah. The moment you learn to also relax and to receive, the divine fills into you. And whether we call it the universe or God or whatever name we want to give the divine, life all of a sudden becomes so beautiful and full. And guess what also happens? Women, if you're a man, begin to trust you, be attracted to you, want to spend time with you, want to support you, want to elevate you, honor you, lift you up. Because they feel that shift in you. And again, you don't need money to do this. You don't need status or cars. It's literally just are you in a practice or are you not?
What if I told you that you could lower your tax bill and stack Bitcoin at the same time? Well, by mining Bitcoin with Blockware, you can. New guidelines from the Big Beautiful Bill allow American Bitcoin miners to write off 100% of their mining hardware investment in a single year. That's right, a 100% write-off. So if you had $100,000 of income or capital gains, you could write off that entire amount by investing it in Bitcoin mining hardware. Blockware's mining as a service allows you to start mining Bitcoin right now with minimal effort. Blockware handles everything from securing the miners to sourcing low-cost energy to configuring the mining pool. They do it all. You can stack Bitcoin at a discount every day and save big when tax season comes. So you can get started today by going to mining.blockwaresolutions.com/breedlove. Again, that's mining.blockwaresolutions.com/breedlove. I love how you said that. It was coming up for me in my mid-20s. I was working as a finance executive, so I was in a lot of these like big board meetings and a lot of big egos and all that stuff. But the guys that killed it the most in those meetings, there were a lot of guys in there very white knuckle, very, uptight and trying to accomplish certain outcomes. But the guys that were just chill and could roll with it and kind of make, laugh about it, have a very soft touch with things. I would describe as like someone, a very masculine person, but they had integrated that feminine light touch. Those were the most successful guys. Those were the highest performing guys in those rooms. Yeah. It's not that you have to have. It's all contextual, right? Yeah. Sometimes you need to bring that frame to bear, and you need to be rigid. You need to be strong. You need to be authoritative, whatever it is. Totally. But not always. Yeah. Not 24/7, right? You need to also know when to have a light touch, when to be playful, when to flow, when to be curious. Yeah. And so it actually, again, we always end up with paradoxes in this, like the depths of human being. It's like you increase your masculinity by integrating your femininity, which is, it feels weird even to say that. It feels like a guy that grew up in Tennessee. I'm like, what? Yeah,
a guy who grew up in Eastern Europe, right? It's the same. And I can see that, I can see it in my parents. I can see it culturally. And then I see the men that I'm working with. I have clients who are, multi-millionaires, multi-billionaires. And they don't publicly yet, because of the environments they're in, acknowledge the practices that they're doing and the work that they're doing. I'm hoping that too will shift, but that's on their time and their terms. And I'm seeing their lives and how their lives have shifted, how their relationships have shifted, and knowing their lives very intimately, how their bank accounts have increased. So to what you're saying, it's absolutely right. And it's almost like this secret hack or this thing that still it's a taboo to talk about because maybe it would be considered a weakness, you know? Yet again, it's like, do you want to run on half tank or you want to run on full tank? Yeah. It's just practical.
Yes. Amen to that. I want to ask you, because this is something I still struggle with a lot. I probably asked you this last time you were here, so forgive me if I'm repeating, but I've asked a lot of people about it, and it's something I personally still struggle with is, and it was one of my friends that posed the question to me once, and the difficulty in separating my identity from my accomplishments. Right. And so the thought experiment is something like, if I were suddenly, terribly injured and was paralyzed and couldn't be of use to my loved ones, right? Couldn't be valuable to them, couldn't serve them. When I put myself in that place, I feel like my identity collapses. Like I would that has a lot to do with the story I tell myself about myself, is that I'm generous, I take care of these people. And so but I think what you're saying is like there is some very fundamental value there, independent of anything you can do for other people. So like, how as men, like how can we think about this connection between our identity and our accomplishments, and is there a way to disentangle them without making one dependent on the other?
For me, I believe, first of all, that we're all souls and spirits who have chosen this planet to come and have this human experience. And in order for us to experience anything other than just like the bliss, there has to be contrast. And, who are first of all, the people that are playing the contrast and have chosen to let's say, not be spiritual or be mean or, just think for themselves and so forth. Like these are all cast members in my movie, if you will, right? And then because we have infinite lives, I believe, we play these parts kind of over and over again. Hey, this lifetime I want to play this part. You're going to play that part. That belief alone allows me to take away the pressure that they should be any different. If folks, and I've learned this over years of coaching and teaching people, like if there's no desire for change, and people have been like, hey, will you work with my son or, with my dad or with my daughter or wife or something? I'm like, do they actually have a desire for it? Because you can pay me a ton of money, but if there is no desire on their part to change, nothing's going to shift. Of course. Their spirit, their soul decided that, hey, I'm going to play this one part in this lifetime. I'm going to be miserable. I'm going to cause misery and make things difficult. So be it. if I can just let go of the need to change them, right? I'm actually free, and I can actually go into compassion and be like, wow, you're a brave soul. You've come here to have this experience. And oftentimes when a parent or a close person releases that need of that person to shift and change, because the lesson has been that they're playing this karmic part for them, that person actually begins to change because they've completed a certain contract.
Right.
You're no longer trying to control your environment, your outer environment. You're instead choosing to shift your inner environment, right? But
and honoring their sovereignty at the same time, right?
Exactly.
Being responsible for yourself and let them be responsible for themselves.
And so much of it comes from the narrative, again, that we tell ourselves. And whether this is true that we are souls or not, whether it's true life is happening to us or for us, or if it's just happening, like, we can philosophize about it all day long. And, someone goes like, well, prove it to me. Well, I can't. But what I can prove to you is how differently you feel depending on the story you choose to tell yourself. And then go into the accomplishments. I think that for me, the metric is this. If you're doing the best you can with the tools that you have, and you're willing to be in the learning, and you are somehow serving through your experience, that is enough. None of us are going to take our millions with us when we leave this life. At any moment, a comet could come, and any moment there could be, some disease that arises from the permafrosts of, the melting ice that we haven't even known about, and wipes out the whole, 90% of the planet. Like, everything is so temporary. And so if we can pop into that perspective, what really matters? And what really matters, I believe, is this moment. How do I show up in this moment? How are you going to feel? How am I going to feel after we leave each other today? Are we going to be energized and like, wow, I'm so glad I drove over here, and I'm so glad I made the time, and we had this conversation. Like, I feel so full. Oh, that was inspiring. Or am I going to feel like, oh my gosh, like that sucked. Like, oh God, I could have just stayed in bed and like watched a movie, right? That's the metric over and over again is like, because a lot of the other stuff, like, God forbid, something happened to you and you can't take care in the way that you did, your value still remains. You have a curious mind. Your desire is to serve and to support. And, who knows what your soul has chosen for this lifetime for its experience. I hope it won't be that. I don't want that either. But if that's part of our path in this lifetime, to be somebody has to take care of us, or we're not going to be able to provide in the way that we did, what's the blessing in that? What's the gift and gold in that? And it's usually the humility of the awareness that we all need each other, right? We are all serving each other. And the one thing that's guaranteed is that everything will always be shifting and changing.
Yes, the impermanence is permanent.
The impermanence is permanent. So, we might identify as the healthiest guy one moment, or the richest guy, or the most famous guy, the best guy at this and that. And the next moment, it's gone. And if you have identified purely as that, you're fucked.
Well,
you're gonna fall like really, really far. And you hear these stories without naming names. I just heard a story that there's this famous person who, we all know him, is now an alcoholic because he's no longer the most famous singer and the holder of this one name. There's somebody younger and better, because he identified as being the best and like being the guy who everyone, was basically, I'm number one. And if you're no longer number one, then you're irrelevant.
Your whole identity is gone. That might be the most useful answer I've ever heard to that question. What was coming up for me is just that, this idea of wanting to serve and take care of my loved ones, which is great. I mean, great, right? That's a masculine thing in many ways, but it also is still in kind of that scarcity paradigm. It's like, oh, there's all these problems in the world. I need to protect them and solve them for them. But it's lacking that higher perspective of the impermanence, of the humility that, it's here today, gone tomorrow. You might be taking care of a lot of people now. You might need to be taken care of tomorrow. Yeah. And that's all somehow like a spiritual test, right? Because that would be a more difficult test. Basically, it's like, okay, now this is happening for you. And you're like, oh, this terrible thing just happened to me. How can I see it as happening for me? And it's
and you know what? If both of us drop dead right now, life would just go on.
Yeah,
and everybody would just figure it out. Yeah, we're not that important.
Yeah.
The planet important would just, to know, it's just like, it would just go on. Yeah. In 100 years or, 200 years, nobody's going to remember us or whatever. There'll be new people, new problems, new whatever.
I've heard it say that graveyards are full of indispensable men.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, again, for me, it boils down to the now, because it's all there is.
That's all there is.
And how we then meet the now is really important. Again, like you're younger than me, but we're getting to that age when we're becoming cognizant of we don't have forever here. Yeah. And the more, years we have on this planet, the more you realize that. And so therefore making each day more precious. Yeah. And more meaningful, how you spend that time. Yeah. And, Rachel and I talk about this with our business, for example. It's like, we could really go after it, right? Sure. We could go after it, build a giant brand and do the whole thing. But what we will lose in gaining fame, status, lots of money is time. Yeah. And it's not worth it. We will take the time over that while still serving, while still being completely full and excited and grateful, and serve from that place instead, and knowing that we are enough. And even though, we don't have a sexy yacht that can, fit 25 people yet, at least, we have plenty of friends to do. Yeah. And because of our energy and our offering to the world, we truly live in this most spectacular way, because whenever we go to those yachts or those places, we bring our offering. Yeah. We give people an experience they'll be like, holy shit, what just happened? I want to do that again. And that is a gift that we can all give in our own way. And I it's not what you say people remember, but it's how we make them feel that people remember. Yes. And so all of a sudden, you become the person gets invited to everything because the way you make people feel. Yeah. And it's not forced. Yeah. It's just who you are choosing to become. Yeah. And it doesn't take a lot of money. It doesn't take a lot it just takes inner work.
Man, it's honestly, it's beautiful and difficult. Yeah. The young man, you want all the things, the fame and the fortune and whatever. And not, everyone wants different things, but typically it's along that vector, right? Mm-hmm. And you do come, even what was useful for me is actually making some money. And then you're like, oh, wait, this is not it at all. This didn't really, I still have all these problems. And in fact, it kind of magnifies a lot of these problems. And it holds up that mirror. I've heard, I think Tim Ferriss said money's kind of like alcohol, it lowers your inhibitions. So if deep inside you're, a mean person, you're going to get drunk, you're probably going to be kind of mean, right? Yeah. If you're actually a really sad person, you're going to get drunk, you're probably going to cry. So money kind of does that in a way that it opens up the space of options for you. But if inside you haven't established that emotional sovereignty or done the work, it's just going to show that more.
1,000%.
Maybe we go back to this idea of parts theory, right? That we are, each of us is a constellation of all these other individuals we've interacted with across time. And when we are facing the world, we'll have these competing motivations, these competing voices inside of us. How do we, obviously you've mentioned the breath practice, but I guess from a maybe self-talk or psychological perspective, how do we think about integrating this community of internalized others within us to and act in a way that's not crazy, right? You don't want to.
Yeah. Well, most of us don't know that we have different parts. And so therefore we usually choose the one that's most present in the moment. Like if I'm pissed off, I might say to you, you pissed me off, because now what I'm blaming you for me being pissed off.
Yes. And you're identifying with just that one voice.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, because we coach people a lot, couples especially, it's so difficult to hear from your loved one that they blame you for their inner state that's currently happening. It sounds like a death sentence. And so if I was to say to you, Robert, like, I'm really fucking pissed at you because blah, 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 versus, hey, I want to own and take 100% responsibility that I'm witnessing a part of me is really pissed off right now. Part of me loves you like a brother. Another part of me is really excited to be here to have this conversation. There's also a part of me that's really scared to express this right now because it's feeling like butterflies in my belly and my hands getting sweaty. Now we're on the same team. So this is when you're expressing to another person, right? Yeah. Now you're like, oh, your part of you is pissed. It's very different than all of me is angry at you. There's another part of me that loves you, or another part of you that loves me like a brother, right? There's a part of you that is scared. There's a part of you that is really gathering courage right now with sweaty palms to have the ability to just express something really vulnerable that's in the space. You're immediately likely to come towards me. And then you can say, oh, I'm so glad you said that, because a part of me too was really scared, and a part of me was angry, and a part of me, is this, and this big part loves you so much. So I've witnessed this other part of me that's scared to speak to it because maybe it'll ruin our relationship. And so it takes us away from one of us needing to be right or wrong, because that's always usually what it comes down to, right? We blame, we shame, we guilt, and we project. And so when we realize that we're doing that, and this is all like fingers going that way versus owning, I want to own that a part of me wants to shame, guilt, or project. Or part of me is actually feeling a lot of shame right now.
Yeah. Feels like an invitation.
It's an invitation. And going back to our body's always listening, my body now is going like, oh, okay, I see. So we don't need to go to shut down, or we didn't get in a fight mode. Right. We're actually in discovery. Because normally it's like, I'm going to run or we're going to fight. Right. Or I'm just going to freeze and not know what to do, right? I'm going to fawn and just be like, whatever you say, you're right, baby, right? So now the body is like, all right, so, okay, there's a lot of different energies, a lot of different hormones and chemicals in play. Which ones are we going to choose to make more of right now? And because we're in an empowered state, our brain is still active because the blood hasn't drained from here and just gone into our limbs, and we're just a lizard basically, right? We are aware of what's going on, and now we can navigate this terrain with awareness. And there, we call this co-devotional communication. And again, the word devotion is in there, right? Because I'm choosing to be honoring of everything that is happening. Most people don't know that they have different parts. So assume when you are speaking to a person and you're saying anything to them that they have no idea about this, and you say, hey, I wanted to inform you of something cool I recently learned. There are different parts inside of us. Yet, isn't that wonderful? And then say, yeah, I always wanted to say to you that a part of me really loves you, and a part of me gets really annoyed when you brush your teeth that way. But it doesn't take away from the love, just a part of me is annoyed. And now you've been able to say what you've been maybe hiding for 10 years, because you're like, if I say this, my partner's going to throw that toothbrush at me, and I'm going to be in the doghouse for a week. And so this is, how do we navigate life elegantly? And how do we learn that at any given moment there might be 10 different parts that are alive inside of us?
Right.
And this is changing the program, the default program that is running in your brain. Our brains are these wonderful computers, but oftentimes the program that you got going on in there, the software is literally like when you're 5 years old. Yes. Right. It hasn't been updated.
Especially when you're in those moments of threat or fear.
Exactly. And then it's like, and then if we take it a step further, it's like, and again, this requires some training and some work. This is not just going to happen overnight. we can actually, because it's a really good point, be like, when did I first feel this? And if you're really trusting your partner and you guys are, let's say, or a friend, and you're in this conversation, they might be like, hey, brother, or hey, sister, or hey, love, right now from this emotion, can you feel, if you close your eyes, like, when did you first experience this? And our unconscious, subconscious is like, whoop, and there you'll see yourself.
Childhood memory.
Childhood memory when somebody yelled at you and told you that you're a bad boy or a bad girl, or you got spanked or shamed or whatever else, right? And then you can literally go to that younger version of you and hold that and integrate that part and bring that part and go like, hey, I got you.
Yeah.
You're safe. We don't have to do that pattern anymore.
Yeah.
We've learned a different way now. And that younger part will be so grateful. You might cry.
Yeah.
You know, which is again, not a sign of weakness, but a courage.
Yeah.
And now that part is integrated. And there's lots and lots of those parts.
Yes.
And then it gets exciting because then you're just like in curiosity around all of these different parts. And then when somebody's really shut down or really pissed off, you know, you can actually be like, hey, can we talk about this? This is really interesting. You know, no longer avoiding it or taking it personally.
Right.
But going like, wow, there's an inner journey inside of you right now. Something is really happening.
Yeah.
Let's be in on it together. And now you're on the same team.
Yeah.
And when we're on the same team, we feel safe.
Yeah.
Everything feels good.
Wow, dude. So that, I mean, that is probably the reason why people can only meet you as deeply as they have met themselves, right? That it's higher resolution is the metaphor that's coming to mind is like, if you just say, I am this, I am angry, I am hungry. Actually, someone told me this, that I think it's in the Irish language, Gaelic or something. They don't say things like, I am angry, I am hungry. They say, anger is upon me. Oh. You know, hunger is with me, something like that. So it's like, it's
That's
there
it's
with
so
you.
Interesting because language, again, it's like we take for granted that, you know, we're speaking English or that it's just how it is, you know, and then think about the different languages and because it's just different code, different program, how then that informs you or directs you differently.
Yes.
And what if our new mother tongue, and this is what we say a lot in our courses, what if we make co-devotional communication our new mother tongue? Or you can say conscious communication, no matter what language you speak. What if that gets imprinted on top of the language that you already learned? And you learn to speak, you know, and I teach in Estonian as well. That's where I'm from. And it's very different than English. Like I'm having to really think. And I ask my audience and students, I'm like, how would you say this? So it would sound similar to this and it lands. So, you know, imagine if it was in Chinese or in Portuguese or whatever else, it would also be very different because all the languages are different. And there's a way to do it, to bring consciousness, awareness, and parts theory and all these different...
It's almost like a grammar in a way, right?
Yeah.
That you can have in different languages.
Yeah.
Because it again, we're not these indivisible aggregates of I. Like we say that, but it's a simplification, clearly, right? We are in reality these competing motivations and identity centers and all that. And so if you really want to do the work to get in touch with yourself and in touch with others, you need to be operating at that level of resolution, not the level of resolution of I, which is much more the egoic and conflictual layer.
And you know, most people are deathly afraid of conflict.
Yeah.
And that's because we don't have the tools to navigate conflict.
Yeah.
So therefore we avoid it, you know, and when we avoid things, they just build up, resentment builds up, we start trusting each other less and less. That's how a lot of times in relationships, infidelity happens. We don't do something because grass is greener. It's a clean slate. This is all good over here. And then we live with that shame, you know?
Right.
And so this is so vital to learn. Again, you can do this for yourself. You don't have to wait for somebody else to come and teach this to you. Learn it.
Yes.
And you can learn it in your own language.
Yeah.
And then again, it pops you out of the mass and you become special, significant, different. That alone gives you status. It gives you confidence. Yeah. It gives you, a platform. Yeah. And so it's like we have all these incredible options in life, how to rise above the unconscious. There's an amazing book that I recently listened to by Michael Singer, who's one of my favorite writers.
Is he Untethered Soul?
Yeah. Untethered Soul. And this latest one, I think it came out a couple of years ago, is called Living Untethered.
Okay.
It's just so brilliant. And he talks about like automated thoughts, that we just have automated thoughts versus the thoughts that we choose to create.
Right.
And these, again, this in the beginning, you're like, your brain is like, whoa. I like automated thoughts, less energy. You know, we need less glucose and whatever, right? Yeah. Versus like having to create new neural pathways, which takes energy.
Sure.
However, when those new neural pathways are created, they're just there.
Yeah.
So it takes a little, just like going to the gym, it takes a little bit of effort.
Make a habit.
Make a habit. And then all of a sudden, as those new pathways are alive, and your life, because of it, blossoms and becomes more, you become that person that people aren't afraid to be themselves around. Right. Which is literally the best gift you can give anyone. I can be myself.
Yeah. Freedom, right? Yeah.
Freedom.
This quote, I just keep reciting it. I think it's just so deep and profound. It's Carl Jung. Until we make the unconscious conscious, it will continue to direct our life, and we will call it fate.
Yeah.
And like this, the practice is that, right? Yeah. It's you're going into those unconscious neural pathways that have already been laid down, and you're putting consciousness back on them to say, hey, is this what I want to be? If not, then let me sculpt the new ones. And if so, then, go on to something else. But one of my highest health priorities is keeping my brain in top shape. To take care of my brain power, I do many things, such as striving to read, write, exercise, and meditate daily. One of the latest tools in my brain power toolkit is Mind Lab Pro. Mind Lab Pro is a nootropic supplement that is scientifically proven to enhance your brain power. When I take Mind Lab Pro, my mind feels like it has a better grip on the world, my thinking is more lucid, and the articulation of my speech is radically improved. Mind Lab Pro has been tested in rigorous, double-blind, placebo-controlled human trials and has been proven to enhance brain power for users in every age group. Mind Lab Pro is an advanced formulation of 11 nootropic ingredients and is backed by research from over 1,400 human trials conducted over the past 32 years. So if you're looking to enhance your brain power, Mind Lab Pro is an excellent solution. Go to mindlabpro.com/breedlove to start enhancing your brain power today. Again, that's mindlabpro.com/breedlove. So one of the struggles, we've been married for a year and a half. We've been together 2.5 years. One of the struggles we have in our relationship is in those moments of disagreement. She's very quick to go and say things she doesn't mean. Like that I know she doesn't mean, she 99% of the time we're in the gratitude. I love you so much. Thank you for being the love of my life. We have an amazing relationship, but then she'll very quickly be like, I don't think this is where it's like, okay.
Threatening the relationship.
Like it gets existential very quickly, verbally, not, but I've learned over time, and this is, we're both Aquarius.
The best sign ever.
The best sign ever. I'm not super into astrology, but I know basically just about my own sign. I mentioned to you earlier, all my best guy friends are Aquarius. Like, I don't know why. Like, I just always get along.
Because we're the best.
One of our besetting sins, I don't know if this is yours, but one of my besetting sins is that I have this tendency to like over intellectualize everything, including my feelings, and just very verbal in general and logical and rational. But, that's not always a positive. That's often not a positive thing, actually. It can be useful, but it can also not be useful. And so I found myself in interactions with the feminine. Again, I'm turning 40 this month. It's taken me this long to realize this. Is like, you're not arguing about the actual words, right? We're not using words the same way. When the feminine goes into that mode, I don't know, she's using words to try and get a reaction or something. So here's where the controversy comes in. What's worked for me is like, okay, if I have a 3-year-old toddler and they throw a tantrum and they start saying really mean things to me, or it could also be a teenage son or daughter, and they're like, I hate you, mom, I hate you, dad, you are mature enough to know that they don't mean that.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I hesitate to use that metaphor with my wife, but it's like when she's in those moments of using words, saying things that I know she doesn't mean, it's helpful for me to know, oh, the feminine is doing that thing it does where it uses words not informatively, but they're using it for some kind of different purpose. And I don't know, that's been really useful because now, most of the time she talks, we have very good conversations, deep conversations. It's one of the things we love about each other is we're both philosophical and there's all that that's really serving the marriage and the relationship, but then it can change on a dime.
Yeah.
And before I had this perspective of like, oh, she's gone into that mode. It was hard because I'm like, oh wait, you're saying all of a sudden I'm not this thing. I thought I was this thing. How can the masculine, I mean, I don't know. I'm generalizing this to like the masculine and the feminine, but my other Aquarius friends and other guy friends in general have cited similar stories. It's like there's times where women start using words in a way that we don't typically use words.
Yeah.
How can the masculine or men think about this type of relation?
Great question and very common, right? So one of the ways you can tackle this as a team is that you make an agreement that when one of you guys is kind of across the red line and no longer retaining the awareness and just pure emotion is to call a timeout. That's
the sacred pause.
The sacred pause.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And say, hey, not that I don't want to have this conversation, I deeply do. And a part of me is becoming aware that we're slipping into some really territory here that is not constructive. Right? I have from previous experiences, I have a feeling that we're going to be name calling. We're going to be, doing more destruction that we're later going to be ashamed of and regretful of. Instead of doing that, could we do a sacred pause and for a moment, take a deep breath together and just speak about the things that I'm really grateful for each other. I'll go first. And then you just go up and be like, my love, I'm so grateful that you're my wife, that we're having this conversation, that all these feelings are, coming forward, that we're letting them air. I'm so grateful. What an amazing woman, and you would just go on. And it might be the last thing you want to do in that moment, usually is. Because your brain is
that's
like,
leading. That's leadership.
That's leadership, right? And usually because of you're the man and you're more, let's say, intellectual, usually, than the woman is. They're more emotional by nature. It's your responsibility. Me and Rachel, 98% of the time, I call the sacred pause, right? Which she's so grateful for. It allows her to slow down, to know it's safe. It doesn't mean I'm walking away like in my avoidant pattern in the past.
Right.
I would walk away, shut down, not want to have the conversation. Right. So I go, my love, I'm in love with you. You're the most important person in my life. There's no one else I'd rather be doing this with. And I want to just express my gratitude for that. Also, while I'm here, I want to bring your attention to, we've been here before. We made it through. And now, if this is a redo from these last events, what can we do differently this time to make this happening a new pattern? Maybe it won't be perfect because there's no such thing, but perhaps we can make it better for the both of us. What are you grateful for? Right? And she might take a moment and be like, I don't want to say it.
Takes a few tries probably.
And just be like, all right. And just be like, just three things about a relationship, about me, about yourself right now. And again, that moment, the blood will come back from the limbs, forcing it back into the brain. And you'll go like, okay, I'm grateful that you're a good husband and you're not violent with me, and I'm grateful for this house. No. And that alone already, you've shifted the pattern.
Yes.
Right? And then like we discussed earlier.
That is such a good vignette of masculine frame, by the way.
Yeah.
Right? And not the frame like, oh, I'm controlling and authoritative.
Yeah.
No. You're setting the tone for the relation.
Yeah. And you're totally safe. We're continuing the conversation. We're shifting the way that we're having it. So we both win. So we're on the same team. Remember, we're on the same team. We're trying to solve the problem for us. The problem isn't you, it isn't me. It's a certain pattern that keeps coming up. It's coming up for us, not to us, but for us to be in a better relationship. And then we might go, hey, I don't know if the time is now, but perhaps it is. Can you identify when you first felt this way? When was that moment when you first felt this feeling of not being heard, of being abandoned, of, you know, needing to say, like, in order to protect yourself, needing to say words that you didn't mean because it gave you power in that moment? Does anything come up? Oftentimes, it's like this moment when you're like, oh my gosh.
Right.
I was 3 years old, or I was 10 years old. I was out of school. I was being bullied, or it was my mom and dad. You know, with her, you know, history, it's like when we were leaving the country or something, and, you know, I was in a new environment, and, you know, and it's just understanding that it's the trauma speaking, not her.
Yeah.
And it's such a relief to your partner.
Yes.
To realize that as well. Disidentify and go like, holy smokes, it's my little girl.
Yes.
That's feeling unsafe. It doesn't have the tools yet that I now have.
Right.
Let me integrate.
Yes.
And then when we integrate, then there's usually a lot of emotion, right? And then you've like, you go to the next level.
That is the moment, right? That is the moment where the unconscious becomes conscious, right?
Exactly.
It's like all of a sudden you have that revelation.
Yeah.
Oh, this person, I'm speaking in a way right now that's out of character, and its source is this trauma.
Yeah.
That when we did our retreat in Mexico, one of the he's a therapist basically, but he does body work and trauma healing and all this. And he had this phrase that every trigger is a trailhead.
I love that.
So it's like a place where you can enter the trigger. You've had a trigger, something you're blaming it on something external, right? It's your partner, or it's the world, or whatever. But it's actually your unconscious pattern that was just activated. And so that you can use that, if you approach it consciously, as a trail to that childhood memory or wherever the source is.
Exactly.
It's almost always a childhood trauma.
Almost always.
Yeah.
And this is a really funny one. I forget where I learned this from, but this is really hilarious one. If you have it in you to try, is be like, okay, sacred timeout. And by the way, when somebody calls a sacred timeout, it has to be respected. Because it's like, if that's not respected, it's just not cool. It doesn't create safety, right? And maybe sometimes it's not, and then you do have to be the adult in the room, while the child, clearly, like you said, you're understanding it's not her or it's not him. It's their child coming forward and throwing a tantrum. Just like as a parent, you be the adult in the room. Yeah. And do your best to soothe, the best to ask questions. And not to placate, not to blame. Yeah. Just ride the storm. Yeah. Until, you know, the tantrum, because we know after a tantrum comes what?
Yes.
Right?
Right. You got to be the rock in that moment.
Exactly. That's why, again, I throw a conscious tantrum every day by doing pyramid breath. I allow my eyes to scream and shake and you know, let that stuff out, because it's a conscious tantrum. Yeah. And so much of that energy gets released. And then, so my next exercise that's really fun is that you get on your bellies on the floor, facing each other, and you can put your arms behind your chin, and you just go into full-on gibberish. No words. Just like, and everything you want to say, but it has to be gibberish. And see how long you can go before you both start laughing.
That's so good.
It's so good, right? It's so good. And then it'll literally, again, it'll break the pattern, because
face to face.
Okay.
Like, how close are you?
You know,
so reasonable.
So you're not like spitting on each other, but like close enough, and just the full permission to say all the things you're really mad about, but only in gibberish.
Wow, that is hilarious.
And again, you're breaking the pattern. Yeah, and because your body is doing what? The trauma wants to release.
Right.
And instead of saying mean things, you're actually allowing the body, because we usually stiffen up, we contract, we feel trapped, like a trapped animal, right? We want to spring into action. And this allows all of those things. And then you can go into like shaking and you can choose to bark like dogs.
Okay.
Or meow like cats or make elephant sounds. You just can't use human language.
Dude, I saw this is just something I saw on Twitter or Instagram where like an animal that goes into a traumatic event, like it's I don't know, fighting for its life or hunting or gets injured. It was a polar bear in this case, and it would show, he'd go through the thing, and then when it's over, he walks away, like 20 minutes away to be on his own, and he just lays on the ground and just starts convulsing for like a period of time.
Yeah, and
it's sort of like that. It's like there's been this like energetic imprint from a stressful thing. And they consciously, or I don't know, instinctually perhaps, they just lay down and shake it out, literally. We don't do that enough, right? Like we haven't, we bottle it up. But so if you do this gibberish thing, you're kind of doing it.
Yeah, we have the same natural rhythm, which is I'm in a baseline of feeling really good.
Yeah.
And then there's a danger. Right, so I go. So parasympathetic state is like, everything is good, rest and digest. We're hanging out, we're talking. Then sympathetic, holy shit, I'm being chased, I'm chasing. Something is happening, and you come back into parasympathetic, and then you're chilling, and then another thing happens, and then it comes back. But in today's world, because of all the stimulation, and we talked about this in the beginning of the podcast. The only way that we're going to click on things is if there's some sort of fear, some sort of sensations. It's a war, it's a thing. They're falling off a building, something, which is creating, we have mirror neurons, right? So whatever they're experiencing, a part of me is experiencing. Right. But it's constant. And our nervous systems aren't designed to be in a constant state of stress. That's why we have all these crazy autoimmune diseases and all the other things, and like we're literally
chronic sympathetic activation.
Activation. And so if the ritual is not part of your life that you consciously release stress, that's why when people go to the gym, that's a great way to release that, right? You go on a walk, you go to the gym, but even then your mind might really be like still ruminating, going over it. Unless you're really like in a class where you have to push it, you can't think of it. You got to balance. You got to do something, right? If you're gonna be thinking about stuff, you're just gonna fall over. Yeah. So you need such focus on something else to calm your nervous system.
Right.
So that is one way to release stress, but you're in a way not being the conscious, active, choosing in participant in releasing it. Again, somebody else is doing it for you.
Right.
Versus going like, hey, I have realized that I'm in a stress state.
Yeah.
I am responding, not reacting to it.
Right.
This goes to the response thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to choose to respond to it by putting some pillows on the floor, taking some deep breaths, and I'm going to give myself 5 minutes to beat the living crap out of these pillows, go all out, go total. Yeah. Whack, whack, fuck you, I hate you, blah, blah. Like say all the things, but you're saying it to this inanimate object versus to your partner or to yourself.
Wow.
You're literally doing what the polar bear is doing.
Yeah. Right.
Unconsciously, because it's part of the programming, I believe, in our nervous system to release the stress. But now you're choosing to do it consciously versus bottle it up, which turns into disease.
Yes. That is
literally dis-ease.
Dis-ease, yes. Wow, dude, that is so, it just makes sense too. It's like, the physical energy of the event or how you interpret it, whatever, it hits your body, it is in your body, you sensed it, you felt it.
Yeah.
If you just leave it there, right, then it's not consistent with the pattern that you are, right? Yeah. So you have a disharmonious pattern that hit the harmony that is you as an organism. Well, you got to get it out at some point, right? You got to beat the pillow or shake it out or do the gibberish, whatever. Like the energy needs to flow through or move. Yes. This is where it's kind of weird because the polar bear does that instinctually. And we, in all of our high and mighty intellect and civilization, somehow lost that along the way. Culture. It's a cultural thing.
We've been taught that that's wrong,
Right.
that's bad, that adults, shouldn't do this thing. And this is all cultural programming. And I feel like it's sort of the Western cultural programming. A lot of the other traditions, you gather around a fire and you share. Maybe you do some sort of a crazy wild dance where you are shaking and screaming and everyone is holding space for you. That was how we as tribes expressed. And it was part of our culture. It was a sacred ritual. But again, today's world, we don't have those. And that's, the one thing that I really see is that the lack of the sacred ritual to connect to the inner world and to express in a safe, sacred space your rage, your disappointment, your anger, your frustration, anything that's has a negative connotation is creating the disease that so many of us are experiencing. It could look like weight gain and look like brain fog, and I mean all the symptoms, right? So many, and again, I'm not like a very scientific person, and when I write down all of the, I love this about Jung and other people who've really done studies around this. This stuff works. It really, really works. It's necessary. And we've lost the connection to that. And no one else, I don't know when our society is going to, as a society, going to bring this back. So it's up to you, the listener, to make this part of your daily practice. Wherever we go, we invite people into our practice. We don't shame them if they don't want to do it. We're like, hey, you want to breathe with us? Want to practice doing a gratitude practice with us? 99% of the time, people are so freaking stoked. They're like, awesome, let's do it. Okay, it's a little weird, but you guys are doing it, so let me try it too, right? And then the smiles and the tears and the some people haven't felt that parasympathetic system activation in years. They go like, oh my God, I didn't realize how stressed out I was. I haven't felt like this forever. We're like, yeah, keep doing it. Talk to them, months later. How's life? Oh my God, I'm so stressed out. Everything is so crazy. I'm like, have you been doing your practice? No. I wonder if there's a correlation.
I mentioned that retreat we did in Mexico earlier, and probably one of the most salient and fulfilling moments there was we had a guy, he lives in North Dakota or something. Like, he just smokes cigarettes and he drinks, but he's a good guy, he's a smart guy and all that stuff, but he just had really been on an unhealthy path for a long time. And, it's a 5-day retreat, but day 3, we do a holotropic breath work. Powerful. And this guy, man, you forget, not that I'm like a breathwork expert or anything, but I've done it a few times. It's very powerful. It's as powerful or more powerful than psychedelics done properly. And to see this guy just have this melt where he completely released, he's sharing his childhood traumas. I won't share it, but that guy that's so rigid and resistant, to just see him melt and open up, and then he has a revelation or an epiphany, basically. It's like, oh my God, I had all of this knot inside of me, and all I had to do was lay here and breathe with you guys for 30 minutes, and it unwound. It's been with me for decades. And so it is so unbelievably powerful and important. Okay, one more, at least one more controversial thing. So I learned this some time ago that we actually have twice as many female ancestors as we do male ancestors. And so looking backwards through evolutionary time, women have basically been twice as likely to reproduce as men. So typically men, closer to the top of hierarchies tend to have more of the children, and men near the bottom don't have any. And I was kind of thinking about that, and it's like, I think they call this, the technical term escapes me, but the very tongue-in-cheek way to say it is, in a Darwinian sense, women wait at the finish line and fuck the winners, basically. So is it hypergamy? Maybe, I'm not sure. so another way to say this is like men organize themselves into hierarchies, right? Whether that's a business, a sports team, whatever nation, whatever it is. And then women just peel off the top, right? They assume that the men self-organize in a way that the most competent and successful, and therefore those that need to reproduce are near the top. And so the example Jordan Peterson gave here is like, you know, when a football team wins a game, the guys are all carrying the quarterback. You know, it's like, that's like a visual representation of what this is. Like they promoted that guy, the leader of the team, to the top, and then all the cheerleaders want to fuck the quarterback, right? And so I'm going somewhere with this, I promise. This idea that there's this saying too, that men test ideas and women test men. So like men do go into the world and figure stuff out, and you know, we invent most of this stuff. We're more intellectual in general, as you said. Like we conquer new territory. We create new boundaries. We create new tools. We improve the standards of living and all those things. But we don't. We have to be tested too, right? Like, so it's almost like there's an evolutionary thing here where the masculine and the feminine are meant to be in conflict in a way. Maybe conflict's too strong of a word, but in tension, let's say like a creative tension between the two. And what is the question here? The question is like, is that a way to, for me, it seemed to be like another one of these tools that I used when I see my wife getting antagonistic with me about a thing. And I'm like, I was able to take this higher perspective. Like, oh, this is part of what the feminine does. And now for me, it's like a masculinity test. I get to sit there and try to be calm and be rooted. And I know the bigger picture here is, you know, you're trying to test me to see if you can knock me off my center or off my mission, because that's what the world is always trying to do to me, right? When I go into the world and I'm trying to create anything new, a business or do anything, you're encountering the chaos, right? So it's almost like the feminine is microdosing the masculine with the chaos, and that's part of the process. So anyways, it's one of these just theories of mine that's been useful. So I just wanted to hear what you had to say about it.
I think there's something to that for sure. I think we're supposed to be tested by the feminine. And I think a lot of the times the feminine is testing to see, are we still trustable? You know, can she still surrender to us? Can she still look up to us and, you know, respect us? Are you still the stronger one? And not again, not in an oppressive way, right? It's just to test and see, so she can feel safe, to be in her feminine flow, to be guided by you, you know. So I think it's a very natural thing. And certainly, if we look at, you know, the animal kingdoms, I think it's probably very much where it comes from, you know. And Mother Nature is really, really smart. You know, she's who is the most likely to reproduce. You know, who's the most likely to live, and you know, it changes with the times, right? It used to be strength.
That's right. Yeah.
And currently, it's probably, you know, smarts, wealth, health is a big thing.
Yeah. And becoming more of that spiritual rootedness you described earlier.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
as we become more wealthy and prosperous, that's less of a differentiator.
Yeah.
Women want more of a man that's grounded, rooted.
Totally. And there's a beauty in that. You know, without tension, there's nothing.
Sure. Yes.
And so tension is actually a gift,
Yes.
you know, and when you first meet someone, there's a lot of tension, right? And then it's like, how do we cultivate tension? Because after time, the tension can go away and you become like besties and roommates, and then no longer having sex. Yeah. And then you see somebody else and, ooh, tension. Yeah. Right? So tension is a friend. Yeah. And a lot of what we teach is how to cultivate tension, how to go deeper with tension, how to create endless tension that is conscious and that is not maybe toxic or negative, or maybe a better
creative
word for it is unconscious tension, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so going back to that conversation, when you guys are in a conflict, I think what's really, really important is that both of you guys assume responsibility. Because oftentimes when I hear, certain teachings are like, the masculine is supposed to just kind of take it, and then the feminine is just the unconscious kind of storm and supposed to rage, and we're just supposed to be there and take it. But everyone has a breaking point, and because we are usually physically stronger, there's a likelihood that's we revert to our animal nature and we'll do physical harm.
Right.
And maybe back in the day that was kind of like, hey, I'm going to show you I'm stronger, but in our current culture, that's not kosher. That's not okay. And I think it's unnecessary. So again, it's like, are you just reacting from a place of, animal instinct, or are you choosing to respond to the situation? It doesn't mean that you are weak or weaker. You're physically stronger. And are you also able to still retain your awareness, much like if you were a general going into a war back in the day when you were not just in a bunker, flying drones around. Are you able to guide your men? Are you able to retain your center when there is, arrows flying and heads and screaming going on? Who's the leader? That's what the women are testing for. Yes. Are you still leading? Can I trust you?
Right.
And if I trust you, I can relax.
Right.
Right. And Alison Armstrong is a really amazing author whose books I absolutely love and recommend for men and women. There's a lot of fun audibles that she has just from her workshops that are, one of them is Understanding Women. Another is the Amazing Development of Men. And there's a third one called In Sync with the Opposite Sex. Those are three are like, if you want to learn about masculine and feminine dynamics and how we tick and work differently, really amazing books to listen to. And they're really fun too. So you're like, get a giggle out of them. They're not like, oh man, this sucks. Like, where am I learning this? Right? You're like, wow, this is so cool. And another thing that's really interesting is, and I know the technical term for this is, but what we're now scientifically learning is that the experiences that a woman has, gets downloaded into her eggs in such a way that those eggs 3 generations from now, at least, will still carry that experience.
Wow.
And so that's to say that the trauma that we carry, the instinctual sort of experiences that we carry, come from so far back and will also continue forward for generations. We live at a time where we have the science, we have the time, the health, the opportunity to shift our whole species in a way that maybe has never been done before.
Wow.
So if one wanted to take on that responsibility, again, think about it, those eggs are inside of her, right? She's testing you, making sure that she's safe to create a new pattern, that maybe that pattern that you are feeling is her great-great-grandmother's when she was being, going through a difficult experience. We're literally getting to heal generational trauma and epigenetically shift the code in such a way that we can know that life is happening for us and that we can trust the universe and we can be in our creative flow, that we are safe to do so. We don't have to be in our primal survival element only. We live at the most abundant time. People live the longest they've ever lived, although it's going down right now because of our stupidity. But, again, the food pyramid just got inverted.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. That's freaking amazing. Yeah. Like, let's eat more protein, right? Less carbs and whatever else. Like, let's put more fat back in our diet. Like, your cravings will go away. And so it's like we really live at a time that's, I think, the most spectacular and the most abundant. And, with AI and everything else too, like who knows what's going to happen? It's such a wild world. I really believe that we have the opportunity to tap into ancient tools, modern tools, utilize all of that. Like, the one thing I've been doing recently, a sort of test run on is peptides. I know you're big on this as well, and I want to pick your brain about it afterwards some more as well. But like we have all these incredible tools available for us to extend our lifespan, to grow old while, in years while still being young and vital. And again, what is that going to do to those embryos or those, genes inside of how we perpetuate ourselves? There's such opportunity in this current time that's here for us, so much to be grateful for, so much to look forward to, that I'm really excited about this life.
I love, that's like a really good call to action to the masculine, I think. The framing you just put there, like the intergenerational impact you can have by doing this work on yourself. Like one of the things, maybe this is a stretch, but like a defining characteristic of the masculine, we want to have a mission. We want to change the world. We want to improve circumstances for others, right? But great, do that, but know that working on yourself and doing these things is probably most often the most effective way you can do that, right? In terms of the big picture, right? The intergenerational picture that you were describing. And I think we talked about this last time. It was like, how do we get more men to do that? And you were just saying, like, you just got to be it, right? You got to you have to do it.
Well, and also, like, do you want to stand out in the crowd? Or do you want to be the guy who only plays video games and complains that he can't get laid? No one's interested in him because he's living in his mom's basement, and he doesn't have a job, and all the, jobs are going away. AI is taking it. That all of those things may be true. And I think increasingly will be true. How are you different? What is it that you can do, right? Instead of all the things that, maybe your dad or somebody else was able to do that you're not, because there's just those jobs don't exist anymore, for example, or it's a different, cultural environment. Women over in the workspace, women are better educated than the men are. They're easier to work with. They work harder. Like, they don't want to be with you because you don't have all the things. But the thing that they're missing, again, I work with a lot of women that have a lot of money and a lot of power. They're single. Yeah. Or they're in a relationship that is deeply unsatisfying. Yeah. And why is that? It's not because their guy doesn't make the same amount of money that they do. It's because the guy can't hold them. In that moment, when the woman tests them, they collapse. Yeah. Or they puff up, they get violent, they storm out, they blame them. It's your inner warrior practice that will set you apart. And, life is so much better when shared. Yes. That woman, that powerful woman who runs a company, I know a ton of these women, all they want is a man who can hold them. Yeah. Yeah. And fuck the shit out of them with skill. Yeah. And that's all they want. They'll go back to work. They'll do it 100 times over. They're like, baby, I got this. Yeah. As long as when I come home and you've been doing whatever you've been doing, you can meet me with your presence, with your breath. You're going to lead us through a practice. You're going to bang me with skill and devotion. And, I will give you anything and everything. Yeah. And the same is in reverse, right? Yeah. It's like, that's fulfillment. Yeah. Then we can have it all. Yeah. If you're by yourself on a mountaintop with all the money, all the things, but you're by yourself, it sucks. With a bunch of other people who've done the same thing, but they're all lonely. Yeah. What everyone really, really wants is sacred partnership. So if we live in at a time when there's less jobs, less opportunity for men, do the inner work, you will stand out, you'll rise in the world, you will be a trustable, masculine presence. Opportunities will begin to flow to you because you will be a rare occurrence. Hopefully there'll be a time when you won't be, but that time is still, from what I can see, far away. Yeah. Be the leader in that.
So there's a very special place called the Farm at Okefenokee. It's a 1,000-acre regenerative farm community about 45 minutes northwest of Jacksonville, Florida. The farm is a completely off-grid community. It has total food, water, and energy independence. Everything on the farm is 100% organic, and it even features wild boar and bear hunting. The farm at Okefenokee is right next to the Okefenokee National Wildlife Refuge, where you can do camping and canoeing tours. So if you're like me and you're interested in the self-sovereign lifestyle, then you can get your own lot on the farm at Okefenokee if you tell them that I sent you. Once you get a lot, you can build one of 3 custom cabin options. So if you value freedom, self-sovereignty, and living in touch with nature, then join me and my family. We have lot number 21, and we're going to be building a cabin there starting December 2025. To learn more about the farm at Okefenokee, go to okefarm.com and make sure to tell them that I sent you. Dude, another amazing call to action. And yeah, it is probably a bit of a historical anomaly, right? That we do have more and more women that have wealth, have power, only to discover that, oh, fuck, I am missing this, masculine frame or leadership. And then for the men, it's more challenging, right? Because you don't want to not be the provider, to not be the breadwinner. Could be emasculating if you interpreted it a certain way, but it doesn't have to be, because it's this energetic thing, right? That you could be, the woman could be a CEO and the guy could be a fucking janitor. But if he's an energy boss with her at home and in the bedroom, like that's all she wants, right?
Yeah. And it's we recently did a BDSM retreat with Omar Pani, who was an incredible teacher. And you see these archetypes and you see these, it's like sacred kink, right? And we all have these archetypes within us. And we all want to be able to surrender and also to lead, and then to be able to reverse the roles and really to feel what it feels like. What women most want from a man, this is what I learned that was invaluable from this retreat was, and I didn't even know this consciously before, is to be contained. For them to come home from work, for you to take them into your lap and to just be with them, with your presence, so they can just fully relax, fully let go, fully melt, just like you would swaddle a baby, right? When that happened, we drop from that sympathetic nervous system. We're in the battle at work, right? We're running companies, we're bossing people around. And for the feminine, it's like you are in a masculine energy. All you want is to come home and be a woman.
Let it down, yeah.
Let go, have your man be there like, I got you, baby.
Yeah.
And then relax into that parasympathetic state where all of your senses come alive, where this one finger touch will be like, oh, had an orgasm. I've witnessed this again and again and again.
Yeah.
And it's so incredible. It's so powerful. Again, these are the skills that we can learn and master. And you will have 1,000 women knocking on your door and being like, I will give you all of the money that you want, whatever. Just please hold me for 10 minutes and make this crazy world disappear. I trust you. I trust you. I just want to be held.
Crazy how we got to this point, right?
Yeah.
It's so interesting. I don't know. I don't know which way the world's going, obviously, but man, we just like forgetting that polar bear's strategy for dealing with trauma. We just lost some essential things along the way.
Yeah.
I hope we're in a period of rediscovery or remembrance, as you said earlier, but it does seem like we have a ways to go.
Yeah. I think we were getting to a point too with AI and, everything is like, have you seen that? Have you heard that term raw dogging?
I mean, I don't know which context.
So basically it's this, I just learned this recently. It's basically, when people go, and this is like the youngest generation essentially who have, iPhones and all the devices, they literally just put their shit away and just like without any stimulus, just sit there. Like let's say you're taking a 6-hour plane ride, instead of watching a movie or being on your phone or on a device, you're just literally like sitting there. Raw dogging it, right? So people want to get back to feeling and it's uncomfortable because your brain is like, give me novelty, stimulate me, right?
Yeah.
But we're getting back to, after all of this available stimulation, to the basics of just being alive and being human, part of which means you're going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Getting comfortable with being uncomfortable is a superpower.
Yeah.
because then you're not going to reach for that thing, but you're just able to be with it, breathe with it.
Part of presence, right?
And maybe you're able to create with it, you know, make art with it, do something with it. And it's so liberating and so powerful. And I think that the more the, you know, AIs and the things are happening, the more that we're going to really crave human connection.
Yeah.
You know, if you're watching this, you're a dude, come to my training, learn how to be a pyramid breath teacher, or just come and start practicing. You know, start speaking about your feelings, learn how to express yourself in a way where you're making people feel safe, even if you're a total mess inside, and not collapsing with it, but rather rising through it. You know, that is something so invaluable. That's something that's going to live in your genetic code. Yeah, it's literally catnip to all the women out there. Yeah. You know, and the women listening, you know, if you're watching this, please comment if this makes sense to you, and you're like, fuck yeah, I want that, you know? And that's not to say that guys that, hey, you don't need to go to work, you don't need to do your best in the world, don't try to make money. Like, no.
That too.
Yeah. You know, but then you're not coming at it from a place of being a victim.
Right.
That nobody wants to be around, least of all women.
Yeah.
It means that you're dedicating a good amount of time to your inner growth, which is so fucking sexy and so rare and so beautiful, sets you apart. Opportunities will literally fall in your lap.
Yeah, I agree. I do think no matter which way things go, the demand for in-person experiences has to rise, right? Because especially with AI, right? Yeah. Like now you don't even know if the person you see on the screen is a human or a AI. It's like, crazy. Well, there's only one way to verify.
Or if it's a girl, you know, that you're flirting with is actually a dude. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, the proof of human, like being together in meat space or energetic space, that seems like it's going to be at a higher and higher premium, no matter which way digital reality goes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's astounded me how much I've gained from both attending these, you know, I did like Joe Dispenza's meditation retreat and other such things like that and leading them. Like it's been way more valuable. Yeah. I'm a very like kind of skeptical person. I'm like, what am I going to get out of this? But it's been tremendously valuable. So when we come to Ibiza, we're coming.
Yeah, baby.
And I want to learn all these things. I guess this is like me saying thank you. It's something we talked about early in the show, though, that you and Rachel both, I don't want to say, maybe not pride yourself, but you try to be open books.
Yeah.
Right. And you try to share your experiences sincerely. And, you know, even when it's uncomfortable, as you're just saying, you're comfortable being uncomfortable. And you do this in a way that you're not self-censoring, and you're actually, in doing that, you're encouraging others to speak freely and to share their stories. And that does seem so important. And that is like one of the primary benefits of social media and this technology, is that if you use it for that purpose, right? Not so much, let me get the highlight reel and the filter and appear like I'm better than I am, but you actually share these stories, these vulnerabilities, you know, your experiences, your learning, whatever. You share that with others in a way that encourages them to do the same. Then we're collectively learning. We're accelerating all of our collective remembrance, perhaps. You know, I don't, sorry, this might be pretentious a little bit, but like you shared with me earlier before we recorded that you guys have been through some difficult experiences recently as it pertains to parenthood and whatnot. And we have as well. You know, my wife had 2 miscarriages last year. Yeah. And, you know, she was very open about sharing that online. The feedback was tremendous. And the recognition of how much shame people carry around this and don't want to talk about it. But then once you put it out in the world, that all flowed in, all this love, all this gratitude. Yeah. So I just wanted to invite you perhaps to talk about some of this and how it's impacted you too.
Yes, for the past couple of years, we were trying to get pregnant, and it didn't happen. And, you know, we're very much like supernatural, you know, kind of I don't say avoid doctors, but we're just really believe in all the natural ways of life. And and then finally, it didn't happen. We went to the doctors and we found out that in order for us to get pregnant, according to doctors at least, we would need help, which for us meant IVF. And Rachel strongly feels that that's not her path. She, has witnessed a lot of her friends go through that process, and it was very hard on these women. Sometimes it was successful, sometimes not. And she basically was like, let's just give it up to the divine. If it wants to happen, it's going to happen naturally. If it doesn't, we're happy. And it was such a burden off of her to release that story. I need to be a mother. I need to, have this experience. I want to make copies of us. Like, it would be the most beautiful thing. And if it doesn't happen, then something's wrong. And I guess it's just a story, right? And our biology is very, very strong. Like when you talk about the clock, women have the clock. I don't want kids. And at a certain age, you're like, I need kids now. And it's mama nature, and it's why there is 8 billion of us on the planet. However, similarly with, fighting and everything like that, we have to also rise above mama nature. And that's how we're different from the polar bear.
Yeah.
We have the awareness to respond versus just to react. And, and it goes so deep and so, culturally, I think, if you weren't viable to have a child, like back in the day, like you got maybe outcast or, you were shamed or you were broken. And nowadays doesn't need to be so. You can live this life. And for us, like we're so happy, the two of us being together, we are committed to constantly learning. Our birthday gifts to each other is like usually like going to a retreat together, whether it's a tantra retreat or something like that, something else like that where we learn. Right now we're going to Thailand for a month-long Zouk festival. So we're going to learn how to dance Zouk.
Nice.
Which is really a beautiful Brazilian dance we're both so excited about. And then realizing the blessing that comes with not being a parent.
Yeah.
Right? There's so many people that are, so many beautiful kids in the world that we can be perhaps an example for, or, we have thousands and thousands of students. We have so many clients that we get to serve. And I think the biggest thing in life is, are you serving?
That's it.
Are you just serving yourself? Are you being selfish? Or are you serving other people? And for a lot of folks, if they're in a job or in a position in life where they're not really serving, they're just kind of doing something to put food on the table, they feel that desire to serve. And then that, it's like we have a kid, it's going to take all of our focus and energy. It's going to grow us. It's going to be amazing. And we're serving this child we're to become like a viable human being, right? A benefit to society and so forth and so forth. And for us, what we realized through the process is really trusting the divine unfolding, trusting that maybe in this lifetime for us, it's not to have a kid or kids, but to live life in such a way that we have the time to continue to grow and learn and show up for folks that are going through really difficult times with our full presence and dedicate ourselves to making this world a better place by sharing the practices and the tools, be fully available for House of Devotion and all of our retreats and festivals that we have coming up, and it feels so good. And that's where too the peptides are really interesting, because when she was going through the mourning process of of not being a mother, or potentially likely not being a mother, her energy was really kind of down. And she realized that she was in a self-perpetuating pattern of shame or not feeling like she's good enough and broken. And then one part was just to release that story, which was huge. And another part is we started, I was going through an injury, and so I was asking around, and peptides came up. And so we got on TB 500 and BBC 157. And the shift was just huge. Like life force came back in her period that was very irregular became regular again.
Wow.
You know, and it was just, I was like,
just
wow.
for those two.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. I never heard that before.
Totally. It did something that was so powerful. Yeah. And similarly for me, I was like, oh, wow. Like I didn't feel like a huge shift, but definitely I was like, wow, this is very cool science, and I want to learn more about it and keep doing it. And I know that there's like a peptide for almost everything now, you know. And so for us, it's like, wow, what an opportunity to now go to Thailand for a month and a half, and then go to Japan, and to continue our deepening and learning, because we're learning with masters that are getting older, and they're passing on their knowledge to us. And then, we're working with folks and getting to pass that knowledge onto them. And this is, again, where the difference lies between like AI learning and AI therapy versus human connection, where there's an actual transmission. Yeah. There's no such, the effect of being in a room with someone who's embodying what they have learned is so different than reading a book about it, or getting your answers from ChatGPT or Gemini or something like that, because there's a transmission.
I love the saying that you don't learn to swim by reading about water.
Yeah. And so it's just realizing that there's a gift and a blessing in every scenario. It's just about changing the narrative, having the courage to get curious, and being grateful for what you already have, versus being upset or sad or resentful about what could be. And so that's where we're at with it. And I'm just in awe of my wife and her ability to shift the narrative and shift the story. And our love just continues to deepen. We've been together for almost 13 years. We're more obsessed with each other than ever. We are so cognizant of the blessing of time that we have, because we have a lot of friends who just got pregnant, and all they want is our life, right? They're just like, I wish I could be you for a day. And that's not to say that parenthood isn't the most amazing, coolest thing on the planet, but it comes with its own, struggles. And one is that time goes out the window, and that is no longer yours. Mother Nature. I was listening to this podcast about sleep and Diary of a CEO. I had a sleep expert on, and it was like, surely there's something that happens, when parents, if they have 3 hours of sleep a night, where they have a special something comes on, a new genetic something activates, and the guy was like, nope. No. Mother Nature basically goes, you're irrelevant. It's all about them now. Right. It doesn't matter if you're going to suffer and get, 10 years older within a year. It's about them now. So there's all these benefits and it's a
trade-offs.
Trade-offs. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, thank you, first of all, for sharing that. And I know I really value the open book thing. We're trying to exemplify it. I think you just did a wonderful job exemplifying not only that, but also the principle of it's happening for us, not to us, And I mean, you guys do such meaningful work, and how many lives are you impacting? How many relationships are you giving greater integrity that will then be sounder containers for children all over the world, right? And then how many lives will they impact into the future? Like if you take that intergenerational view, my mom used to say this, basically like the deepest meaning in life is to live life beyond yourself, right? Like obviously parenthood is a direct path to that, the most direct, clearest, most common path, but it's not the only path, right? It's, as you said, if you're living in service to others somehow, some way, you can attain that fulfillment. And just as someone who we didn't have the same struggles, but I know how emotional it can be and how hard it can be, and it's hard to share. So thank you, and thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you, brother. You too.
As a relationship that has benefited from you guys, I can only imagine how many thousands of us there are out there. Yeah, brother, this has been an awesome conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I knew it would be. I was really excited to see you and talk to you again.
Likewise.
Any closing words of wisdom And if not, you could just please let people know where they can find out more about you, more about Rachel, more about your work.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll start with the latter, which is you can find us on devotionmethod.com or on Instagram at Johann or at Positive Pringle. And like I said before, we have the special going on right now where you can just for free, totally for free, no obligation to stay on for a month. Hundreds of videos. There's 4 live sessions each week with one of us or both of us. Come explore. There's no obligation, and we're not expecting you to stick around, but just come and absorb what you can for 100% for free and see what the impact is. It all begins with us. And this is really the thing. It begins with us. We are the ones we have been waiting for. The answers don't lie outside of you. Somebody's smarter than you, better than you. It's all inside. And what we need is guidance and how to activate what's already here. And then make it grow, water that garden, make it into a habit, enjoy that ride. It's so fulfilling. It's so amazing. Give yourself that gift. Stop waiting for something to happen. You become the happening. Mm-hmm. And your life will dramatically shift. That's it.
Beautiful. Brother, thank you so much, man.
Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
So good to see you again.
You too.
We lock our doors, we encrypt our hard drives, and we use strong passwords. But most people leave one thing wide open: their phone line. SIM swap attacks are one of the fastest growing methods of digital theft. In minutes, a hacker can clone your accounts, reset your passwords, and drain your life. Unfortunately, this is not science fiction. It happens every single day. Efani is the only mobile service protection designed exclusively to protect you from SIM swap attacks. Efani offers military-grade encryption on their product and offers up to $5 million of SIM swap insurance. And to date, there have been exactly 0 SIM swaps on any of Efani's over 50,000 protected accounts. So you don't need to live in fear, you just need to protect your weakest link. Go to efani.com/breedlove to secure your phone line today. Again, that's Efani, EFANI.com/breedlove. For the past 25 years, I've been reading roughly 1 book per week. Almost entirely difficult nonfiction books, the kind that really shift your thinking. Books on physics, money, power, psychology, spirituality, and philosophy. The real stuff. But I get it. Most people don't have time to read 50 books per year. So I hand-selected my favorite nonfiction books and distilled each one of them into a course that you can take in 50 to 100 times faster than it would take you to read the entire book. Each course gives you the key insights, mental models, and frameworks that matter. We launched with 15 book courses, and we are building toward a library of 100 by the end of year 1. So if you are a seeker of truth, wisdom, and personal growth, then my book course is for you. To sign up, go to course.breedlove.io. Again, that's course.breedlove.io. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, click here to find more just like it, and here to find our most recent episode. Also, make sure to like this video to help shine light on the corruption of money. And be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay connected.